So what I'm going to just cover off this morning is how we win through our people. And just to give you a bit of context of PayPal, 1,400 people in Blanchardstown opened up Dundalk on the 2nd of July last year from a complete building site in 11 weeks to having 60 people there in 11 weeks. Today we've 287 and we'll go to 500 by the end of 2013. And by the end of 2015, we'll have grown between Dublin, Berlin and Dundalk to about 2,500 people. So significant growth for the organisation based on volume. And I was talking to Aidan from the Irish Times this morning. I was just saying as an example, this quarter alone, our volume in Spain based on this time last year is up 50%. And in every paper you read, you talk about unemployment in Spain, and over 50% of their unemployment is between the age of 18 and 25. Well, I don't know what's happening in Spain, but we've grown 50% quarter over quarter, which is fantastic for us and may it continue. So today I just want to talk about winning through a team, and just to give you a bit of an idea around eBay Inc. and where PayPal fits in all of this. If you look at eBay Inc. as an example, our role is to connect commerce, and that is whether you have something on eBay, on marketplaces that you're trying to sell, and then the back end is obviously we pay through PayPal. So every morning, in PayPal and in eBay Inc. level, our mission is to connect commerce, and our mission is to make sure that anytime, anywhere, anyway, on any website, you should see PayPal. And that's what we're trying to achieve. And we were talking obviously as well over with Aidan around, if you look at eBay Inc. 3 years ago, we had nothing on mobile. If you look today where we are, we have over 90%, if not 99% of our businesses on mobile. But also, we start with mobile first instead of building it for desktops or anything else. So there's a lot of things we have to get right, but the most important asset in our organisation is our people. And I would tell you sometimes companies forget that. But to me, I spend 80% of my time with my people, and I'll give you some flavours around some of the things that we do. I'm not saying we're perfect, we're far from perfect, but we are doing something right because on the basis of our growth, but also on the basis that we have a great talent pool, and we have an attrition of 10%. Now people might say, 10% maybe be associated to where the economy is. Well, if you look back 2-3 years ago, we had attrition of up to 25%. So yeah, it might have a bearing on it, but in reality, 10%. Do I want it any higher? No. Do I want it any lower? Absolutely not. To me, it's the 70, 20, 10. 70% of your time, your people are on full throttle. 20% of your time, people are your steady eddies, and 10% of your time, you need them 10% to go. So just to give you a flavour on what's our priorities, how we achieved our priorities, and how do we enable a winning team. I remember going to the States 10 years ago and people saying, we need to enable a winning team. And I was kind of going, But I had to stop myself because sometimes a winning team does make a difference, but it's how you determine it and how you interpret what a winning team is. And then just to talk about what are the key focuses that our teams actually work on. So, as I said, if you think about PayPal and you think about anytime, anywhere, anyway, it's a big goal. It's a big, big goal. And you have to make sure that the foundations are right to make sure that we are going to achieve that, and how we're going to get there is really important. So, a couple of things I would say. The first thing is we have a very clear shared commitment among the team. And I'm not talking about values, I'm talking about commitment. Because values can mean anything, a commitment means I'm committing something to each other. And if you think about what our commitments are, first of all, we want to create an experience our customer loves. That's our first commitment. And we have these life-size, massive, in all of our floors and all of our meeting rooms right around our organisation. So everybody's singing off the same hymn sheet. So we create an experience our customers will love. We innovate constantly and we compete fearlessly. We execute well every day. We enable our talent to thrive, and we drive success by our KPIs, by our people, and we do a survey every year on our people, we call it our Pulse score, and by our financials. That's our commitment to each other. And we make sure that commitment It's very clear from the door in to the top to the bottom. And I'm at the bottom, remember. So when you look at that triangle and people say the MD is at the top, I am at the bottom. And I'm very clear about that, because if I don't come in today, people might say, where's Louise? But if my team don't come in today and answer the phone and answer the emails, we have a big problem. So in every interaction I have with my team, I'm at the bottom, they're at the top. And based on having our shared commitment, we have shared behaviours. And to me, in our hiring process with our talent acquisition team, if you have the right attitude and aptitude, you can do anything. I can teach anybody anything. If you have the right attitude, I'm very happy to take you as part of into our organisation. But as part of our behaviours, we think about, one, be the customer. A lot of companies lost sight of their customer. You have to be the customer. So as I say to my team, you have to eat your own dog food. So that means you've got to use the product. You've got to know what pain points the customer has, because you've got to use the product. And we enable our teammates to use the product at every single opportunity. So let me give you an example. So today, if we have somebody sees did a really good job on empowering a customer, really went to that extra mile, we do a thing called a spot awards. Today, we put those spot awards into your PayPal account so that you can actually actively use your PayPal account to either buy or sell. Part of our shared behaviours, simplify and clarify. Sometimes people set it up to be a lot more convoluted than it is. We have a simple product, we have a buyer, we have a seller. One sends it and one collects it. Very simple model. People make it complicated. So we need to clarify, make sure we've clarified what the product is. The next one's a really good one. We debate, we decide, and we deliver. We do not debate, and debate. I've been in a number of situations where I'm going into a meeting and the team have made the decision, and they're coming to tell me what the decision is, and they start debating among each other again. Not happening. We debate, we decide, and we deliver. We'll be open, honest, and direct. Some people go, it's a bit harsh. Open, honest, and direct. We have a template within all of our meeting rooms on feedback. What I did well in the meeting, what I could have done better. And we should do that as part of our day job. People always see feedback as a negative. Feedback can be a positive if it's taken and given in the right manner. So we are very clear, be open, honest, and direct. But above all, you got to do the right thing. And whether that's doing the right thing for your customer or doing the right thing for your teammate, they're of equal importance. So we set down what our commitment to each other is, and we set down what our behaviours and our standards that we expect of each other. And we have a lanyard, and on our lanyard, those key commitments and behaviours are on it. And if people are not using them to the right way, or if people are using them absolutely the right way, we hold up the blue card. So we're very clear that we, as an organisation, have a clear commitment and a clear set of behaviours. So based on that, what does that mean for us to win as a team? Well, we set very clear priorities as a leadership team. Same as any organisation, we have a strategy. We have a 3-year plan, we have a 1-year plan, and then we look at how we're going to execute on that plan. We can't do that on our own. So if I look at my organisation, the line in the sense of we look after every phone call contact that comes in, but then I have support functions around me that do a really good job to support us. Marketing, HR, operational excellence that we consider all our project and our processes. We would not be successful unless all of those things were happening to support us on the line where we're at the cold face with the customer. Once we have our strategy nailed down, the next thing we look is our people. Our people are critical to our success. And the things that we look at from our people standpoint is not about Louise. It's about Louise's competencies and Louise's skill. So people get all wobbly when we start talking about, shouldn't, Louise get a 10% pay rise or should Louise get no pay rise? But we take Louise out of the equation and we talk about the role that Louise is doing and the competencies and skills that she has to deliver on the job that she has at hand. And that's the key piece, because people start looking at themselves and saying, I did a great job. Maybe you did, but you hadn't got the competence and skill to drive the business where we wanted you to drive it. So it's key that we make sure we take the person out of the situation, we make sure we have the right competence and skills to get us to do the job, and then we look at the full package. But most important as we think about our people is, everybody in our organisation has a personal development plan. Everyone has a personal development plan that they own, and we review them every single quarter, and they have a quarterly personal development conversation with their leader. I do skip-level conversations with my directs. I observe a personal development plan conversation with every single one of my directs every single quarter. So I coach them on how are they putting together the PDP and how they're having those personal development conversations. We have IPPRs, which is our internal process where our performance is quarter over quarter, with clear goals, clear KPIs. So then it's very simple doing your review. Did you meet the number or did you not? And then within that is obviously your commitments and behaviours as well. So then nobody's thinking that they're a 5 when they're actually only a 2. Because we've had those conversations all the way. But I will spend 80% of my time with my people. I was in Berlin yesterday and I had no meetings. I spent my whole time walking the floors. I went in, how are we doing? If I gave you a magic wand, what would you ask of me? That's the conversations I had all day yesterday. So it's really important that they see that you're engaged, but engage with them at all levels, and that's really important for us. And once we have decided our strategy, once we have very clear goals in setting our people, we put our action plan in place. And our KPIs are non-negotiable. I don't worry about my KPIs. If I worry about my people, my KPIs will look after themselves. Some people say, yeah. I'm telling you the truth. If I look after the people in our organisation, I do not need to worry about my KPIs. Because people don't work for companies. People work for people. And if they feel that you're interested in them, first of all, that you're not just saying you have a job, you actually have a career with us. And how do I make sure that I develop and coach and mentor you for you to get to your goal? Now, we have people that say, you know what, Louise, I'm really happy where I am. Don't want to be a supervisor. Don't want to be a manager. I really love my job. Fantastic. Well, the only thing I want to do with you is get you to be better than you are today. I don't want you to move. So I don't put pressure on people if they don't want to move. Some people come in and say, I'm very happy coming in at 9 to 5. I'm very happy coming in at 8 to 4. I'm very happy coming in at part-time because I have my kids, I have elderly parents. That's fantastic, because you know what? I need all of those people to make the wheel go round. But the most important thing is they know we care. And we care if you have decided that you are happy in your role for a period of time. Louise, they may say, I'll be back in a year's time, 2 years' time, I have small kids. Listen, fantastic. I know I have a steady Eddie that can do that job and is not going to look for other opportunities, because we've made sure we're very clear in our PDP what area of development that person needs. So once we have our plan in place, we then make sure we execute. KPIs, non-negotiable. We have a talent review meeting every single month in our organisation. How is our talent? Where are our 9 boxes? Who's in the top boxes? How are we mentoring them? How are we coaching them? Who's mentoring them? Who's buddied up against them? We focus on our 9 boxers all the time on a quarterly basis. It's really important that they know we're doing that, but also we do it right down through the organisation. So everybody knows where they are, and everybody knows where they're playing. So very transparent around it. And then parts of the things that we do is, a lot of things that we do is around innovation, as I talked about earlier on. 3 years out, we had no mobile in PayPal. In Inc., eBay Inc. had nothing on mobile. big part of our role is change management. Again, a lot of organisations forget about the change management piece. They go and they see the big, bright, shining object over to the left and they go, right, let's go, march. Stall the ball. You have to make sure that you have put in place the change management to get you there. Now listen, we weren't perfect. We were not perfect. I mean, if you look at back in 2009, 2008, we were at a crossroads. My boss from the States came and said, look, Louise, you know, we're throwing bodies at this organisation. What are you going to do when you grow up? Wasn't really sure, but I told him, you know, we'll figure it out. And it was at that stage I went to the IDA and said, listen, you need to help me here. I want to go from a battery factory, which we were, to something that's very different, a centre of excellence. And we've grown from the battery factory to throwing bodies at calls and contacts, because we were growing like a hockey stick, to something now that's a centre of excellence. We are the operational centre of excellence based out of Dublin, based out of Ireland, that's feeding back to the States. I hope there's no Americans here, but for years I worked in American companies and everything came from the States, and you know, we gave nothing back because we were stupid. How wrong were they? So I have great friends in America. I joke when I say that, but the reality is it's a sweet pill when you're now sending back all of the good stuff from EMEA back to the States to say we are the leader in a lot of the projects and a lot of the work that we're doing today. So, you know, the most important thing out of the strategy, out of the people, out of the action plan is we have a common goal, and every day when everybody comes in, they all know what their part is to play in achieving that common goal. Are we perfect? Absolutely not. Have we a way to go? Absolutely we have. I'm very happy to say we have a way to go. You know, some of the time the things, you know, what do we achieve to get priorities done? If you think over those three headings, it's really important that you make sure that everybody's on the train with you. Sometimes some people are not on the train. And you know what? That's okay. So many times they may need to either decide they want to get back on the train and we help them to get there. And sometimes people step off the train, and that's okay too. And we make sure we help them. And if it's not for PayPal, we help them to excel themselves outside of the organisation. Because sometimes people are not able to take it to 2015. And I can't think about today, or neither can PayPal think about today, 2013. We're constantly looking at 2015. Have we got the right team and people to get us to 2015? And if we don't, we have to have those difficult conversations. But in the long run, you're doing those people a favour, because you're not going to set them up for success if you're driving to 2015 and they're still on the roundabout in 2013. So really important that, you know, very clear set the goals, very clear set the expectations, very clear to set there's an action plan. But also there's timelines with that action plan, and there's deadlines that you need to meet that action plan. But once you're very clear and you over-communicate all the time, right the way through the organisation, they'll support you. We weren't great at that for a while. We all knew it, our top table, what we're doing. We weren't great at telling everybody throughout the organisation what we're doing. Didn't help us. We got feedback saying, you're not great in communication. Okay? Feedback is a gift. We need to do something about it. We did something about it. And our example of our decision making in our pulse last year was about 70%. So 70% of the time they said we're making a decision. Today, 83% of the people say we're making a decision. So again, you have to make sure you can measure your success. But making sure that you're measuring your success, you have to bring all the troops with you. And it's really important that you do bring all the troops with you. So, what are the key areas that I would share with you that, you know, focused us as a team and brought us to where we needed to be? So I'd say 1, decision making. Most important, make a decision. It might be the wrong decision, but you know what? Whippity-doo, you made a decision. I tell my team all the time, nobody died. We made a decision, wasn't the right decision, nobody died. We can just pick it up and change course and go again. But at least you made a decision. This thing of sitting on the fence and not sure, make the decision. I'll support whatever the decision is. And in making the decision, you know, you need to protect you. And what I mean by protect you is people then say, she made a decision, he made a decision. Your brand is impacted by if you're wobbly and sitting on the fence. So make the decision. That's really important, I would say. Second thing I would say is, you know, business maturity. People assume, you know, I started in PayPal, Louise, in 2005, and I've done everything. Not doubting that. Not doubting we support you all the way. Not doubting that we paid you all the way. But we're mature now. We're in a different place. And have you got the skills and competencies that's going to get us to where we need to get to in 2015? If you don't, we'll help you get them. And some people will never get them. And that's okay too. But you've got to make sure you support them to make the right decision. So make sure that you're thinking, as you're thinking of your business, where are you in the maturity cycle? And have you got the right people that's going to get you to where you need to be in 2015 and beyond? The environment, key. You always have to take a pulse of what's going on. Always know what's going on. If you don't know what's going on, there's somebody that does know what's going on. Make sure you know who those people are. The grapevine is a great place, but you have to make sure you know who knows the grapevine. And you have to know who the people that if you want to give them something, that you have the right person to give the grapevine. Not the dreamers. Dreamers aren't great. You need to make sure you give them little information. You need to make sure the people that are in the grapevine, that whatever you need to drop into the grapevine, you need to know who those people are. And you won't know those people by breezing in the morning, grabbing your cup of coffee and breezing back out. You have to go in the morning. That could take a half an hour to get that cup of coffee. Because you know what, you'll hear more in that half an hour than you'll hear in the whole day. But sometimes people are too busy. They have to run to that meeting. I make sure when I go in first thing in the morning, that could be half an hour, that could be an hour. Because I'll hear more in that hour than I'll hear throughout the rest of the day. But also you've got to be visible. Your people has got to see you. You know, I'm nothing special. Let me be very clear. And my team say, I was in companies and I've never met a VP. I didn't even know what a VP was. Be very clear. I'm a vice president. I'm not very important. That's very clear. I know exactly where I came from. I know exactly where I'm going. But at the end of the day, that's a title. They know me, and I will make sure whether I know something about all of my leadership team. With a team of, 1,500, it's very hard to know them all. But I'll make sure, good morning, good afternoon, I'll stop and chat. How's things going? It's all of that level of information people appreciate, and ask them how you're getting on. Don't forget, sometimes when you're at the very top, you can meet them all very quickly when you're coming back down. So make sure that your people see you, you're visible. And there's no point in talking the talk, you have to walk the walk. That's key. And I would say people again. I bang that drum all the time, and I really do believe in it. And we've all been in organisations where, you saluted, you didn't even look, you were afraid to look at the managing director or the leader at that time. The most important thing is that people can walk up to you and say, like someone did yesterday, Louise, I wasn't really happy with my performance rating I got for the end of the year. I'm disappointed to hear that. So send me an email and we'll look and see what that is. The last thing that person wanted to hear from me was saying, well, it is what it is. I had an email before I got off the plane from Berlin last night. But that's okay, and I should be able to get that email. And I'll have somebody, and sent that on last night and said, somebody, you need to look at that. Whether the number was right or whether the number was wrong is irrelevant. What's relevant is somebody is going to meet Elena today and say, Elena, let me help you understand why you did, because whoever communicated at the end of the year didn't do a good job. Because she should have walked away with no illusion why she got that score and how she's going to improve that score. But the worst thing for me yesterday was to say, it is what it is. I said, you know what, you send me an email and I'll have that looked into and I'll come back to you. That's her satisfied, whatever the outcome is. I gave her the time to say, send me the email. So I suppose I would say, in summary, a couple of things. I think you've heard me. Your people are really important. Empower them. Don't micromanage. We've all been there, done that, sold that T-shirt. Not interested in being micromanaged. I'm interested in empowering my people to make the right decision. If they make the wrong decision, celebrate it, because we'll all learn from it. We've got to empower our people. People's intentions when they get up in the morning is to do a good job for an honest day's work for an honest day's pay. That's what everybody is intending on doing. And we've got to make sure we empower them so they can do that job. The day of micromanagement is gone. That's somebody at the top or at the middle or at the bottom is insecure. We've got to move on from that and empower people to do a good job, and they will. Mind your brand as people. Be very aware of your own brand. I wasn't great about it all the time. I was too busy. Then you realise, you know what? You're on stage all the time. Mind your brand. Your own brand is really important. What is the legacy you want to be left with when you leave an organisation or join an organisation? It's all about your brand. You need to make sure you mind your brand, whether you're having a difficult conversation or an easy conversation. Your brand is really important. You need to walk out of those situations intact, as so is the person that you're dealing with intact. And that's managing your brand. And sometimes it's not easy, because sometimes you do lose it. I say to my guys, anybody can have a bad day, but you can't have a second bad day. Anyone can have one bad day. We've all had bad days. And you go back and say, sorry about that. As I think about it, when I go home, the first thing you do is you're taking off the suit, look at yourself in the mirror and say, did I do right by people today? If I did, fantastic, and I should. Every day, maybe I'm not as nice every day. Well, I'll be the first thing I'll go back to that person the next morning and say, listen, wasn't that personal yesterday? Lot of things going on, shouldn't have reacted that way. Apologies about that, and move on. But if I came in the second day and was having a bad day, well then I'd take you out the back. This is not acceptable. But anybody can have a bad day. So really important to mind your brand and mind your people. Now I tell you, all of this doesn't happen without hard work, long hours, commitment, clear direction, and keep pushing the envelope. It's constantly pushing the envelope. Because you have the plate spinning up here and everything's going great and you think everybody's a PDP and everybody's fabulous. And then you go out the next thing, you just happen to meet some of the card and say, how's your PDP going? Say, I don't have one. Well, you know what? That's going to happen. You have to keep pushing the envelope all the time, make sure everybody understands what their commitments are and what their behaviours are. Also, I'd say go with your gut. I made loads of decisions on my gut. Some of them weren't the right decisions. Nobody died. I went back and start again. Number of times I was into a project. Quarter in, 2 quarters in, had the wrong people at the table. I lost 6 months. Nobody died. Start back again. Go with your gut. Your gut will give you 99% of the time the right decision. Sometimes you have to learn to say no. Not a lot of people say no. And you know what? Sometimes it's better for you to say no. When you're constantly being asked to do certain things, it's okay to say no. Not a lot of people say no, and you should say no. And last but by no means least, I'd say, be yourself. And by being yourself, you'll have fun along the way. Thank you.